The wind was not the beginning. There are neither beginnings nor endings to the turning of the wheel of time. But it was a beginning.
Oh yeah. This is the beginning of something, all right. Beginning of a dumpster fire. Oy vey. Howdy, y'all. I am Adam the Renaissance Nerd, and I am a fan of Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time series. What we have here is not Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. I said it in my prediction video a week or so ago, which the Wheel of Time stands thoroughly attacked and thoroughly ratioed me until the show premiered and people with a brain got to see what this was all about. People with a brain who found my video and searching to see if there was somebody out there who was not suffering from deadly, severe cognitive dissonance, who had not convinced themselves that this was the greatest thing since sliced bread, saying how great it was. Yeah, I'm going to get into it more. They were searching, and they found my video, not by the hundreds, by the hundreds, not by the thousands, but by the hundreds at least, and they pulled me out of that ratio. And I am firmly out of the ratio. It's not a massive like to dislike ratio, but the likes are winning because I was right. I was right, and I can definitively say I was right because I have now, because my chat asked me to, because my subscribers asked me to, I have watched the first 3 episodes of Amazon's Wheel of Time. Note I say Amazon's Wheel of Time. Ain't Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. Amazon's Wheel of Time. Amazon's Wheel of Time. See, I am full of righteous fury right now. Because while I do not consider myself the hardest of the hardcore Wheel of Time fans, I'm just a guy who read the books a couple of times and enjoyed it. And as a writer, was inspired by one Mr. Robert Jordan. I've said so in my last video about this stuff. Shook the man's hand. Told him thank you for inspiring me. And he signed my book. That's just who I am. I'm not looking to ingratiate myself with the Wheel of Time community online. I'm not looking to get in the good graces of a super fan here or there who are the ones who know all and say all and will say whether or not this is good. No, I'm not looking to do any of that. I'm looking to give you, if you've come here looking for a straightforward, honest take on this unmitigated trash. And that's what I'm going to do. Yes, I'm a week late to the party, but I'm here now. I'm going to suffer for you so you don't have to. So, without further ado, let's talk Amazon's Wheel of Time, episodes 1 through 3.
The world is broken. Many, many years ago, men who were born with great power believed they could cage darkness itself. The arrogance.
10 seconds into this abomination, and they're already breaking the lore by giving you a false recounting of the lore. Now, before we go forward, be fairly warned that I'm going to be spoiling the shit out of the Wheel of Time as we go forward, because it's the only way to do a compare and contrast of how obscenely horrible this show is in terms of respecting Robert Jordan's world. You've been warned. As I said, within 10 seconds going here, Rosamund Pike's version of Moiraine Damodred, a.k.a. Moiraine Sedai, blames men for the breaking of the world, which, while technically true, is also false because she claims that women, the Aes Sedai, then saved everything and took control. Well, leaving out the fact that once upon a time, and yes, we don't learn it right away, but people know that men and women were Aes Sedai in the time of legends. before the breaking of the world, before both men and women thought they could tap into the power of the Dark One and turn it to themselves, before they pushed their way into his prison at Sheol Ghul. This show has zero respect for the lore in this opening credit, this opening, I don't even know what to call this, opening moment, where men are blamed for everything, their arrogance. No, women were involved too. And you forget the point. Not once in any of these 3 episodes do they even use the words satyr or Satan.
This power, it's meant for women. And women alone. And when you touch it, you make it filthy.
You see, right there, it shows a distinct failure to properly tell the lore and history of this world. Yes, that's a red Aja, a red sister who hates men, hates everything, but it still is a lie. And that they, at no point in this entire 3-episode beginning do they even begin to correct that lie or explain about channeling men, about Satan versus Satyr, about why Satan is tainted, about why men go mad. They never once bother to explain it. Just telling you that men, from that perspective there, men are using something that was only meant for women. The one power is not the one power. It is a power divided into 2 halves that must work together in order to achieve true legendary effects, as we see in the actual books time and again. We learned in the books that in the time of legends, the age of legends, the greatest achievements were done with male and female Aes Sedai working together using both halves of the one power. You're not simply tapping into that power as a man or a woman. Satan, Satyr. That's just one example in these 3 episodes. The complete abandonment of the lore. The abandonment of the world that Robert Jordan created. Now, I'm going to attempt to just go quickly through this because it's 3 episodes. I don't want to go on for 55 minutes. I want to get through it because then I got other shit to do, and then I got to go watch episode 4. Get that up for you guys next. That will be a more in-depth analysis talking about an episode overall. But this is going to be just a quick go through the episodes and then what is just so wrong with this. So these episodes are supposed to detail the introduction of our main characters, the flight from Edmonds Field and the Two Rivers region, the eventual splitting up of our group, and certain important key story moments that are supposed to happen that sort of happen, yet are very, what's a good word? Tainted by the inclusion of unnecessary characters, the exclusion of important characters, the late arrival of important characters, and overall bad storytelling, bad acting, bad choreography, and horrible costuming, and really bad CGI all around. So, the characters are the characters of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time in name only. Amazon's Wheel of Time main characters, if we can even call them that, of Rand, Althor, Iguain, Perrin, Matt, Moiraine, Nynaeve, Lon. They're all there in name, but nobody acts like they're supposed to because they are given either altered backstories or no backstory. Rand al'Thor is supposed to be our main character. We're supposed to see the world developing primarily through him, but then shifting around to others, but he is the center of the wheel, so to speak. He is the one this is all about. Again, spoilers, he is the Dragon Reborn, the reincarnation of Lewis Theron Telamon, or Lewis Theron Kinslayer, whatever name you want to give him. He is the reincarnation of the dragon, the most powerful male Aes Sedai from the Age of Legends. The one man who could stand against Shaitan, the Dark One. The one man who could easily handle any of the Forsaken. Oh, I'm using terms that this, if you're new to this, are going to sound odd because guess what? The show never mentions any of this stuff at all. Doesn't give you any background, doesn't give you any lore breakdowns, gives you literal drops of information that mean absolutely nothing. As I said, the characters. Rand, we know nothing about Rand in this story, in these episodes. We know nothing. We know that he likes to F Iguain, and he's a sad sack of a sap cuck, that Iguain wants to be a wisdom, and in this version, a wisdom can't have a husband, can't have children. She has to be devoted to her calling. Again, not in the books. I double-checked online because my Wheel of Time copy, I have the copy of the Eye of the World, fell apart earlier this year when I was reading it in preparation for this grand adventure. So I couldn't double check it on my own. I had to do some checking online. But yeah, there's nothing about wisdoms not being able to marry. That's a contrivance to create false romantic tension where there shouldn't even be romantic tension, because Rand and Iguain, almost childhood sweethearts, never even held hands, barely even touched fingers. But they're effing here because they were aged up so we could have a good old-fashioned CW-esque romantic tension situation. As somebody said in an article, a will they, won't they type of thing. They don't. They won't. They never do. They realized pretty quickly 2 books in that they were never meant for each other. Without the effing. So they create this false sexual relationship between Rand and Iguain, who is, in my opinion, in these 3 episodes, the central figure. At least in the first 2 episodes, she gets the most screen time out of any of the Two Rivers 5. Because it's all about Iguain. Because now, according to this, again, the other major change, Iguain is a Ta'veren. What's a Ta'veren? They mentioned it twice in 3 episodes. Ta'veren, powerful individuals who shape events by their sheer presence, who shape the will of the Wheel of Time, the threads. They are the ones that shape it. They make things go a certain way to help them out. But now Iguain is a Ta'veren along with Rand, Mat, and Perrin, completely destroying the concept of the Dragon Reborn being a male, because now she's included in the possibility of being the Dragon Reborn. Again, they haven't talked about Satyr or Satan, so they're taking liberty saying, oh, anybody who taps into power is drawing upon the one power. They fail to differentiate the fact that the dragon is a male Aes Sedai. Lewis Theron used Satan, not Satyr. They don't talk about it at all. So they can have this contrivance for the push for diversity and inclusion. Yeah. All to make women power. All to have intersectional feminism front and center. And it's front and center all over this episode. I'm going to talk about a moment upcoming. There's one moment when we arrive, when Lon and Moiraine are coming into town, arrive. Before that, whenever he's in the tavern, you see all the women cackling and drinking like men. And the men are busy walking around, either just sitting there smoking a pipe or serving or being good little toady lackeys, being good subservient men. And there's another moment, we're going to get there in a moment, when I bitch about the battle of Edmonds Field, the fight in Edmonds Field, the attack, the burning of this village. Bullshit. Let's quickly talk about Mat and Perrin, Moiraine and Lon, as we see them so far. Mat, real Matrim Cawthon. He's a rapscallion. He's a lovable lad who just likes to pinch a bottom, steal a cake out of a window, gamble, get into a little bit of innocent trouble. Nope, this Mat is a dirtbag gambler. Yes, Mat likes to gamble, but the thing about Mat is he always wins because of his Ta'veren nature and who he is. That's later on in the story. But this Amazon Wheel of Time Mat, he's a thief. He's dirt poor. His family means nothing. And his family's horrible, except for his little sisters. And he's a scoundrel, but not the good type of Han Solo scoundrel. He's a piece of crap. He has no charisma, no smile, no twinkle in his eye. No, oh, that's just Matt being Matt. He's going to take your pie, but he's a good kid at heart. He's just a little selfish at times, but he's good. He will stick by his friends. Not this Matt. This Matt doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself and maybe his little sisters. And also, by doing that, you destroy the concept of the Two Rivers area, Edmonds Field and the surrounding hamlets of families that date back hundreds of years, multiple generations. And they take pride that they exist for these multiple generations. That's it. That's what it's supposed to be. This type of adaptation they've done disgraces the world building of Robert Jordan. Secondly, Perrin. Perrin is just this race-swapped giant oaf of a dude who is Perrin in name only. He apparently has no job. His newly created wife is the blacksmith. Therefore, you're removing the entire inner dichotomy of Perrin that unfolds as the story goes along in the actual books. A young man who doesn't want to kill, but picks up an axe in order to fight to protect his friends, protect his home, and protect his family and future loved ones. But he doesn't like it. He'd rather use the hammer to build and create, to fortify, not kill. In this one, they make him a murderer, where he accidentally kills his wife during the Trolloc attack on Edmonds Field. He wasn't the blacksmith. That's not there. And we're going to get to the wolves stuff later. So you got that. Moiraine and Lon, flat. Lon does not behave like Lon at all. Where is his water cloak? You spent a lot of time on crummy one power CGI and crummy Trolloc CGI, but where's the water cloak? The shimmering water cloak. One little thing to really make it feel like you're looking at Lon. And also, no offense to this Korean dude who's playing him, but Lon is supposed to be a 6-foot-plus mountain of a badass. This dude is tiny. Rosamund Pike, she gives a flat performance. Moiraine, yes, she's supposed to be standoffish, but she's supposed to have a mystique about her. There's no mystique. There's nothing. It's flat. It's empty. There's no warmth. There's nothing to this. And there's a scene where they get in the tub, and Lon gets in the tub with her. Lon would be standing outside the door, watching and waiting for trouble. Lon would never leave Moiraine unprotected in that kind of open situation where his sword is not within reach and he's completely naked and unarmed. Everything is out of character. And Nynaeve, aside from the fact that, again, another race swap along with Iguain, another race swap, and I've complained about this stuff before, stands F you, I don't care what you think. They are race swapped. Look at the cover art on every book. Race swapped. Nynaeve, smiling and happy most of the time. That's not Nynaeve. Nynaeve is a raging bitch. She's a raging bitch with a good heart, but she's still a raging bitch. And when she does act like a raging bitch later in the episodes, there's no heart to it because we're not connected to this character. You may want to yell and scream at Nynaeve in the books or suicide, but she does everything for a deep love for her home and her fellow Edmonds Fielders, because they're not her friends. She's not friends with Iguain. She's not friends with Rand. She's not friends with Matt. She's not friends with Perrin. She's their senior. She's in her mid-20s. They got that right, the age. It's the only age they got right. She's in her mid-20s. They're all children to her. With Iguain, her future successor is wisdom. One point she says, "Where are my friends?" They're not her friends. They're her fellow villagers, who she cares for in that aspect, in a motherly, almost maybe an aunt-like caretaker fashion. Yes, does her relationship with Iguain in the books grow deeper and deeper as it goes on? Of course it does, with what they go through. Then they become more like sisters. But at the start of this, they're not friends. She's their caretaker. She sees them as children, because in the books they are children. They are not 20-somethings effing people and effing each other. So, from everything, the characters are broken. That's all the characters. They're completely broken. There's no depth, no nothing to any of them. And then you have moments like the battle at Edmonds Field, which didn't happen on camera in the books. It happened off camera. Off camera. The real important thing was the attack at the Althor farmstead, the homestead, where Tam and Rand fend off a Trolloc attack. And Rand touches the One Power for the first time during this sequence. Touches Satan. And we see the revelation of the heron-marked blade. And, enjoy that moment there, because that's the only thing we get about that, because that's one thing, again. Heron-marked blade, swordsmanship, nothing, gone. Robert Jordan spends a lot of time in the books talking about the art of the sword. And throughout this first half of the adventure where Lon starts to teach Rand the art of the sword, none of that. Rand just has the sword. We heard nothing about what the heron on the sword means. Nothing. Boom. Nothing. We missed the entire ramblings of a delusional, fever-driven Tam about where Rand came from. So you get nothing for Rand again, as I mentioned, earlier. And then the attack on Edmonds Field, in my opinion, done just for gore, done to break the story even more, because Nynaeve gets dragged away, and I almost forgot. Thom Maryland, nowhere to be found. We don't get Thom until the middle of episode 3. Thom Maryland, one of the most important characters in this entire adventure, there from the very beginning. His motivations, key to being there at the very beginning. Also important that he knows Moiraine from the very beginning, knowing where their relationship goes by the end of it all. Very important that they have that foundation. Very important that we know that Thom Maryland's reason for being a part of that is to protect those 3 boys, Rand, Perrin, and Mat, from Aes Sedai, because he considers Aes Sedai to be dangerous and users and will destroy men who can channel without giving them a chance to try and find a way out of it, or try and just be free and be safe and get away from everybody. That's part of his motivation, but that's not what happens in this. Thom's not there. Not that we get him later, stooped in to make it so that he's at a good key point later on. But, so, this whole thing is broken. And then there's this moment in the Edmonds Field. This entire battle at Edmonds Field, in my opinion, was done for this single moment right here. That one moment, so you can see all the cackling women from the tavern take down a Trolloc with wooden pitchforks. While the men are all running around scared and no one's fighting and everybody's done. So, this thing is ridiculous. It's bad. And as far as, again, I'm trying to draw us to a close here now. It's broken across the board. They rush through all of this. Episode 2, it's just a lot of running through the wilderness, getting ahead of the Trollocs and the Fade. They only ever call it a Fade or an Eyeless. And everyone use the term Mirdrawl. And I don't remember hearing the term Mirdrawl ever. And the Mirdrawl, that kind of monstrous maw, what is that? What is that? I don't know what that is. And the Trolloc CGI, I think I said it before, horrendous, horrible. And I'm CGI blind. I think most CGI is okay. It looked terrible. Shaky camera moving around. So they spend most of episode 2 just running just to get the Shadar Logoth. Just to get there, just so they can try and get that actual plot point of putting the cursed dagger in Mat's hand. And then, I forgot to mention, Moiraine gets injured. She gets a dagger to the chest, which hurts her for the longest time. Doesn't happen in the books, but they did it to increase the tension. Well, first of all, didn't need it, because by having Moiraine injured, it gives the return of Nynaeve later something to do when Nynaeve should have joined the party long before that. Yes, she's not there originally.
Just imagine if Nynaeve was here.
She'd spend every waking moment disagreeing with the Aes Sedai. She'd make Moiraine's life utter misery.
She joins them later, but it escapes the whole... It leaves behind the whole infatuation of Iguain with Moiraine and Nynaeve butting heads with Moiraine for a while before they get to Shadar Logoth. It removes the entire character building that goes on. You don't get the honest to goodness beginnings of the Nynaeve and Lon relationship. Iguain always wants to be an Aes Sedai. She doesn't have this initial hatred for Aes Sedai. Again, they break Aes Sedai lore when they claim that Nynaeve's predecessor, the Wisdom, was turned away from the White Tower. The only time the White Tower, they only say the White Tower, they never even say Tar Valon. They only ever say White Tower. I don't think I heard the word Tar Valon once in all of this. The only time Aes Sedai turn away white initiates is when they don't have enough power or they wash out. They can't handle it. They always teach them enough so that they don't kill themselves. They leave all kinds of lore about the one power and Seder and Satan, leave all kinds of stuff out. And it's done in a way that leaves you, anybody who's new to this, empty, and anybody who's experienced, wanting. And don't even get me started on the White Cloaks. The White Cloaks. What the F is that? They're wearing all white. No, they're supposed to have white cloaks, not be draped in all white. And all right, so eventually the Shadow Logo stuff happens. No Padden Fane in sight. He's nowhere in sight. We see him for a minute in the first episode. Race swapped and everything. See him for a minute, and then he's nowhere in sight later on, when he should be. We don't get the proper backstory of Shadar Logoth. We get a Lon telling a bastardized version of it. And then they get the one thing right of everybody getting separated as Shadar Logoth, but then Thom's not there. But they run into Thom in episode 3. He protects them from a dark friend who steals Rand's sword and chases them through town. We're afraid of this pudgy woman with a sword. We're running. That whole scene is ridiculous. Nynaeve sneaking up on Lon. That's ridiculous. Nynaeve just being a raging bitch for no reason at this point. We have no reason to understand why she's a raging bitch and a lovable raging bitch. She's just obnoxious. And Perrin and Iguain just wandering through the wilderness until they come across the Tuatha On, the Tinkers. And the wolves licked Perrin's wounded leg. And that's initiating the wolf thing. No Elias in sight. No Elias in sight here, folks. That guy who teaches Perrin about being connected to the wolves. So there's all of this. It's all broken. And then in the final part there, Moiraine, Lon, and Nynaeve run into the band who captured Logain. Doesn't happen in the books. We don't see Logain until he's been stilled and part of our group has reached the White Tower. We don't. So this story is not Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. It is Amazon's Wheel of Time. They have bastardized it all. You hear a few familiar words here and there, and to make you feel like it's something important, like it's supposed to be there. But there's zero delivery of the lore, zero explanation, and all I see is intersectional feminism. The men, with the exception of Lon, look like pathetic idiots all the time. And I just got to comment, Thom Merrilin behaves like badass, but that doesn't look like Thom Merrilin. White hair, white long mustache. His gleaming cloak. The patches are on the inside. It's supposed to be on the outside to signify he's a gleeman. And he's playing a lute guitar. He plays a harp and a flute. He doesn't play guitar. And he juggles. He does gymnastics. He does all kinds of gleeman stuff. He doesn't sing a crummy song off key in a drab tavern like that. He's supposed to be extravagant. He's supposed to be buoyant. Not buoyant. That's not the right word. Flamboyant. Supposed to be flamboyant. Buoyant as out to get water. My brain is melting from all this. Give me a break. And I still got to go watch episode 4 later on now. Jeez, this is a disaster. Now, if you are coming here and you're going to say, you're not a real fan, you know what I'm saying? They have to adapt things to make it work. No, they don't. This is not an adaptation of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. This is a complete rewriting of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. None of this is Wheel of Time. They've already done several things which ruin possible future storylines. How can Iguain go on for her grand destiny as an Aes Sedai being a Ta'veren? It doesn't. The implications of what a Ta'veren does ruins everything that happens around her. If she was a Ta'veren, so many of the bad things that happened to her between Eye of the World and Shadow Rising Wouldn't happen because things would kind of just go her way if she was a top Baron. Fate would bend to her will. Doesn't work. But these people, they claim, Rafe Judkins claims to love the story, claims to be a fan of the books, claims to read the books. No. Obviously, nobody in that writer's room has read a single page beyond maybe the first page of every chapter. This is not Wheel of Time, Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. This is Amazon's Wheel of Time. Going forward, I will review this every week until it's done. It's going to be a second season, so we're going to keep going. I'm going to lose my mind over this. You're going to watch me rage out because this show is just a disaster waiting to keep happening. And it's going to keep happening for at least another year. So enjoy the ride. Enjoy probably watching me lose it more and more every week as I get more and more pissed off as I watch this garbage. All right, I'm done. Thank you for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, a like would be appreciated. If you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on Odyssey as well. I'm here to give you my straightforward, honest takes. Because I'm not here to be your best friend. I'm not here to earn your favor. In that sense, I'm here to be straightforward with you and not lie to your face. Hit the notification button. Share my video if you like what I'm preaching. And please comment away. Because I know the stands are going to comment. They're going to rage out of control. I'm looking for the real comments. The normal people who, even if you may disagree with me, if you're sane, we can still find common ground because normal people can have different opinions and still get along. We are not stands. We are not SJWs who get both barrels. I don't care what you think. I will never care what you think because you're cowards behind keyboards. And I've proven with my last video, if we don't listen to you, you have no power, and the real people will always outnumber you. Thank you again for watching. See you at the next episode. Howdy, y'all. The first chapter of my fantasy novel, Guardian of Innocence, is now available for free. Click the link in the description below and join me in an old-school good versus evil story where Cole Ares, a disillusioned mercenary, suddenly finds himself dropped into the middle of a destiny he never asked for as the protector of Jania Sarine, a blacksmith's daughter who may hold the answers to finally stopping a millennia-old threat to the world of Rosetta. Cole's perceptions of love, family, trust, loyalty, as well as his very beliefs in fate versus free will shall be tested as he struggles to keep Jania safe from the minions of the dreaded Zabor Tal, former champion of the gods and now ruler of the long-forgotten Yis Empire. Click the link below, enjoy the first chapter, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and help it grow so that I can bring you the full story in the near future. Thank you, and enjoy the video. Thanks for watching, everyone. I don't do Facebook. I will never do Twitter. If you want to reach out to me, email me at therednerd@gmail.com. I'm on Getter now, at TheRedNerd, the Geeks and Gamers forums under @ROAS, and you can also follow me on Odyssey at The Renaissance Nerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.